Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation on social certification and language variation. We will be reviewing two important articles that explore how language differ according to social class and why these differences matter in society. So, this presentation is based on topic 6 from our sociolinguistics course. So, what is social variation in language meaning? Social variation in language means that people speak differently depending on their social background, such as ages, gender, education, or even social class. Okay, for example, young people may use slang, while older people may use more formal language. This shows that language is connected to a person's identity or in social groups. Next, I want to show you the two social linguistics that I studied with different approach. One important study was conducted by William Labov. He studied how people pronounce the letter of R in New York department stores. His research showed that people who from higher classes were more likely to pronounce R clearly. This study is empirical because it is based on real observation and data. So, for another researcher is Basil Bernstein. He introduced the main idea of restrict code and elaborate code, explaining how language use can differ between working class and middle class families. His work focused more on theoretical ideas about language and society. So next, I want to talk about the differences between empirical and theoretical. Empirical perspective focus on data and real-life observation, while theoretical perspective focus on ideas and explanation. Both are important because data shows what happened in society, while theory helps us understand why it is happened. Language and social inequality. Language can also reflect and maintain social inequality. Some accents or language style are often seen as more standard, while others may be judged negatively. This can affect people's opportunities in education and employment. In conclusion, social linguistics help us understand that language differences reflect society and should not be used to judge people. But in the end of this presentation, you will understand not only how language varies between social classes, but also why these variations are important in education, workplace, and society at large.
Slide 3. Language, Society and Class. Language is not just a tool for communication, it reflects our social identity. People's speech varies according to education, occupation, and social class. Social stratification creates hierarchical divisions which affect which language varieties are considered prestigious and which are stigmatized. Understanding this helps us see how language both mirrors and maintains social inequality. Slide 4. Why this article? We selected two articles to review the same topic from different perspectives. Labov's study is empirical. He collected real speech data in New York City. Zhang and Liang provide a theoretical perspective. By reviewing both, we get a complete picture, data plus explanation. Slide 5, Article 1 Overview. Article 1 is the Social Stratification of English in New York City by William Labov, published in 2006. It's an empirical study focused on how language varies among different social classes in New York City. Labov is recognized as a pioneer of variationist sociolinguistics. Slide 6, Labov Method and Data. Labov collected natural speech from department stores. For example, Saks Fifth Avenue for the upper class, Macy's for the middle class, and S. Klein for the lowest class. He analyzed pronunciation patterns in everyday conversations, particularly the post-vocalic R, for example, in the phrase fourth floor. This allowed him to see systematic differences between social classes. Slide 7. Labov. Key findings. Labov found upper class speakers use the R most consistently. Lower class speakers use it the least. Middle-class speakers often hypercorrected, exaggerating the R in formal contexts. This finding shows that language reflects social hierarchy and social aspirations. Significance of Labov study. This study is a foundation of sociolinguistics. It demonstrated that language variation is structured, not random. It introduced the concept of hypercorrection and showed how speakers consciously or unconsciously adjust their speech to signal social status. Labov works continue to influence research on language and society.
Article 2, Different Language Variants and Social Class by Zhang and Liang 2024 takes a theoretical approach. It examines how language forms reflect social class, prestige, and power. Unlike Labov, this article does not collect new data. It synthesizes existing studies and theories to explain modern social and educational context. The authors highlight standard language is associated with prestige and upward mobility. Non-standard language is stigmatized despite being rule-governed. Schools and institutions reinforce linguistic hierarchies, often disadvantaging working-class students. Language is a tool for social positioning, which means people may consciously adapt speech to improve their social standing. The article encourages appreciation of linguistic diversity to reduce bias and promote inclusion.
Next is strength and limitation. Now let's look at the strengths and limitations of both study. First, for Labov. One major strength of his research is that it is based on authentic speech data and uses a strong research methodology. Because of this, his findings are considered highly reliable in sociolinguistic studies. However, a limitation of Labov studies is that it is historical and location specific. His research was conducted in New York City during the middle 20th century, so the results may not fully represent language of other places or modern societies. Next, for Zhang and Liang. A key strength of their work is that it is clear, accessible, and relevant to modern society. The explanations help readers easily understand how language relates to social identity and prestige today. However, a limitation is that their discussion lacks strong empirical data, which means their conclusions may sometimes overgeneralize certain social language patterns. But overall, both studies complement each other. Labov provides strong empirical evidence while Zhang and Liang offer theoretical insights. Because of this, both are valuable resources for students, researchers, and educators who want to better understand the relationship between language and society.
Finally, we come to the conclusion of our article review on social stratification and language variation. Overall, both articles clearly demonstrate that language is not simply a natural tool for communication. Instead, language is strongly influenced by social structures, particularly social class. The way people speak often reflects their educational background, occupation, and social status. Because of this, language becomes an important marker of identity within society. The first article, written by William Labov, provides strong empirical evidence showing that language variation is systematic and closely related to social stratification. Through his famous department store study in New York City, Labov demonstrates that pronunciation patterns differ across social classes. For example, speakers from higher social classes tend to use the post-vocalate "r" more frequently, while speakers from lower social classes use it less. Interestingly, middle-class speakers sometimes overcorrected their pronunciation in more formal situations, which Labov described as hypercorrection. This study is important because it proved that linguistic differences are not random mistakes. Instead, they are structural patterns influenced by social factors. The book's work also laid the foundation for modern social linguistic research, helping scholars understand how language varies across communities. On the other hand, The second article by Yimin, Zhang, and Liang provides a more theoretical discussion of language variance and social class. The authors explain how certain language varieties are often labeled as standard and associated with prestige, authority, and higher social status. Meanwhile, non-standard varieties are frequently stigmatized even though they follow their own systematic linguistic rules. This highlights an important issue in society: language prejudice. In many cases, people judge others' intelligence, competence, or education based on how they speak. However, sociolinguistic research shows that no language variety is inherently better than another. The idea of standard language is mainly a social construct shaped by historical, political, and institutional forces. Both articles also highlight the role of institutions such as school and workplace in reinforcing language hierarchies. Educational systems often prioritize standard language form which can unintentionally disadvantage students from working class background or different linguistic communities. Because of this, it is important for educators and society to develop greater awareness of linguistic diversity. In terms of strength, Labov's article is particularly valuable because it is based on real linguistic data collected from everyday conversation. This makes the finding reliable and influential in social linguistic research. Meanwhile, Zhang and Liang's article provides a broader theoretical perspective that connects language variation to larger social issues such as inequality, prestige, and social mobility. However, there are also some limitations. Labov's study was conducted in specific time and location, namely New York City, in the mid-20th century, so some patterns may not fully represent the other societies or modern contexts. Meanwhile, the article by Zhang and Liang relies mainly on theoretical explanation rather than new empirical data. Despite this limitation, both articles make significant contribution to the field of social linguistics. When considered together, they provide a more complete understanding of how language functions within social structure. So, in conclusion, this article review shows that language variation is closely connected to social stratification. The way people speak can reflect the social background, but it should not be used to judge their intelligence or ability. Understanding social linguistic variation help us become more aware of linguistic diversity and encourage us to reduce prejudice toward different language variety. Therefore, future research and educational practices should continue promoting respect and linguistic diversity while recognizing the complex relationship between languages, society, and social class. Thank you for watching our presentation. Bye.